All right. Hey, everybody. Colin Charlson back with you from the Winona State Football Players Association. We got kind of a pleasant surprise here last week. I'm joined by David Braun, who was a great friend of mine back in the day. We were in each other's weddings, roommates, played together. David is the new defensive coordinator at Northwestern. So congratulations, David, and thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, so those of you that don't know, Coach Braun was working with our old friend Coach Entz up in Fargo the last number of years. You guys went on an amazing run, continued an amazing run there. That just ended last week in the championship game and lost to a school that many on our staff at Winona State are very familiar with, South Dakota State. So why don't you really quick just start by telling us your story, Dave? What brought you to Winona State back in the day and to where you're at today? Tell us kind of your story, if you will.
Yeah, the journey to Winona State is one that I'm forever grateful for. The experience that I had, in Winona and playing for Coach Sawyer, Coach Entz, that staff. People ask me all the time, if you could do it again, would you change it? And I said, absolutely not. I mean, I wouldn't change it for anything. Those 5 years were transformational for me, and the friendships and people that I lean on most here in my life, a lot of those relationships, started in Winona. It all started with Brian Hiller, who was responsible for recruiting Wisconsin. I was at the Midwest Combine. Some kid that grew up playing hockey, thinking that he should be playing tight end as a college football player, which certainly wasn't going to be the case. But Coach Hiller must have seen something in me. Those of you that know Coach Hiller know the relentless recruiter that he would not leave my family and I alone, all summer about coming up to Winona State's first team camp. And I showed up. I was a renegade camper, so myself and Kevin Michaels and Randy Spring, and I mean all these guys that are, Taz Landry. I mean these guys that I ended up playing with, they're all at this camp, and it was an incredible experience. I grew as a football player. It provided an opportunity for me, a above average high school football player, to really showcase maybe what I could turn myself into if I got in the right program. And, as the recruiting process played out, I think it was really that camp experience that led to, Coach Sawyer and Coach Entz believing in me and giving me an opportunity. I'll never forget it. Coach Entz in his green Ford Explorer, selling all sport out of the back of that thing. And I mean, pedaling and pushing Domino's pizza at lunch. I mean, he can come by every single meal like, Braun, you got to put on some weight, order another pizza. So, but no, that's were the early stages of an opportunity at Winona State that, I will forever remember and cherish. And those relationships that were formed, those life lessons, it was my experience at Winona State that, motivated me to want to get into college coaching, because I knew the impact that those men had on my life, and that the relationships that I had formed had on my life. And it really set me up to have success, beyond college football.
So tell us, what was that? Do you remember, was there a moment, and I don't think I've ever asked you this, but was there a moment where you said, you looked at Coach Entz, you looked at Coach Sawyer? Do you remember, was there that one time where you're like, I want to do that, I want to be like them when I grow up, when you were a player?
Yeah. I don't know if there was one moment, but there was certainly this sense, I was an education major at Winona State, and in my mind, I was, I was going to go teach high school social studies and was going to coach sports. And, I just wanted to have a positive impact on young people. And I think there was this collective, sense of, my gosh, this impact that Coach Sawyer's had on my life, and the impact he was having on other people's lives around me. The impact that Coach Entz and Brenda and their family were having on me and my now wife, Kristen, while we were dating. What Brian Hiller meant to me and his belief in me as a recruiter. I mean, just seeing this like collective positive impact that these college football coaches were having is like, man, and to do it in a hyper competitive environment, and stay, the thought of getting out of the realm of college football was kind of hard to wrap my head around. So to be honest with you, those 2 years as a GA were kind of like a therapy, like a coming down period off of my playing career, to stay involved with it. And then there was just this sense of purpose. And, now Chris and I, it's kind of like our family's mission. It's the four of us navigating this thing together, but, through the game of football, trying our best to have a positive impact on those that we get to be around.
So Dave, you're fairly modest, but you had a fairly, I would say, pretty good career at Winona State, as somebody that wasn't recruited heavily from the Milwaukee area, and somehow Brian Hiller saw something in you, which I'm still trying to figure out how you played at such a high level. But you did have some amazing achievements on the field, nationally recognized, recognized in the conference, recognized in our region. But even more cool is the impact you've had on the game since leaving Winona State. FCS Coordinator of the Year last year on the defensive side of the ball. Tell us about your journey leaving Winona State. What took you around the country, and what brought you back to the Midwest, and ultimately to where you're at now in the Big Ten with Northwestern?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was one of those things that, all of us that play college football, you have these, crazy dreams of, man, could I play football after college? Could that happen? And, some of the things that you experience as you go through that process, you quickly realize and are humbled that that's not going to happen. And Coach Sawyer and Coach Entz were so gracious to give me an opportunity to GA. So it was 2 years of like working under Coach Entz and working under Coach Sawyer and having a position group and having a recruiting area. I tell guys all the time, you want a GA, go GA at a D2, go GA at a D3. You gotta do all the grunt work, but you also get to do all the things that help you learn how to actually coach a position group and recruit and coach. And that opportunity was so influential. And then I had an opportunity to get my first full-time coaching job at Culver Stockton College. New staff, hadn't won a game in 3 years. There's 27 guys on the roster when we get there. It was like, whoa, what did we get ourselves into? But just what a great learning opportunity, and what a great opportunity to have impact. And I was there for a year, and then all of a sudden Coach Sawyer, is calling me and offering me the opportunity to come back and work with Brian Curtin to coordinate the defense, and dream come true. Like, what? I'm going to get paid and get benefits to coach at Winona State. Are you kidding me? Like, this is awesome. And, that journey for 4 years working under Coach Sawyer, Kristen moving to town, getting married, all those things, those were formative years for me, getting a chance to work with Brian, to coordinate the defense, the relationships that continued to build, observing Coach Sawyer of like what it's really supposed to look like in terms of, running a program the right way, are all things that have stuck with me to this day. And then, there were aspirations, to coach at the Division I level. And this opportunity comes along at UC Davis, just outside Sacramento, California. And I busted my butt to even just get an opportunity to get an interview, and all of a sudden earn the opportunity to get offered the job. And there's this sense of like, oh, this is awesome. And then you find out what it pays and the cost of living in California. and Kristen's pregnant with our first, and with Lucas. And I tell people all the time, like, professionally, best decision our family ever made. From a financial standpoint, from being responsible, like, it was the most irresponsible thing I've ever done. Put our family in an interesting dynamic of managing how to kind of make it work out there, but met incredible people out there. And what that reaffirmed to me, Colin, was this can be done the right way, at the Division I level, just like Coach Sawyer's done it. Ron Gould stood for the right things. He hired a great staff, great people, we cared about our players. And, we were out there for 2 seasons. Coach G gets let go. Ron gets let go. We're terrified. We're Kristen's pregnant with Andrew, our second. And we were fortunate enough to get retained. Okay, we're going to be all right. And then this opportunity comes to get back to the Midwest and be closer to my parents at University of Northern Iowa. We end up making the decision to come back, and to coach in the Missouri Valley was had always been a dream of mine. We were thrilled to be back. 2 seasons that you and I were awesome for our family. You know, got a chance to make the playoffs twice, make some playoff runs, got to experience that. We were 3.5 hours from my parents. The boys were young. You know, life was good. And then, you know, all of a sudden Coach Entz gets named the head coach of North Dakota State. And, you know, our relationship was a special one. We stayed in close communication. We collaborated. We, you know, worked on professional development on an annual basis. But there was no assumption that that opportunity was going to present itself. And, you know, I'll never forget it. It's December 26th. I'm at my folks' house. I get a phone call from Coach Entz. My wife sees it pop up on my phone. You know, I take it, I answer it. I walk downstairs. He and I talk. I walk up the stairs. She goes, "What's Matt calling for?" I said, "Well, you know, Coach just offered us the defensive coordinator job at North Dakota State." And, you know, she looks at me and she goes, "Well, what'd you tell him?" I said, "Well, honey, I told him I had to talk to you first." And I won't use the language because, you know, we're recording here, but she, you know, you get the gist of it. You dummy, what are you doing? Call him back. Tell him we're taking the job, you know? And my gosh, special place, but more importantly, was working for my ultimate mentor, a man that I love and respect. And, you know, all he reaffirmed to me over the course of our 4 years together is you can coach your butt off. You can push kids, you know, to reach their fullest potential. You can treat people the right way, your staff, your players, leadership, administration, the community, and you can win at a really, really, really high level doing it that way. And, you know, now this transition to Northwestern, I got to be honest with you, Colin, you know, we're thrilled. We're pinching ourselves, you know, I mean, an opportunity to be at a place like this and work for a guy like Coach Fitz is really special. A dream come true, honestly, one of which I never knew. An opportunity to coach in the Big Ten. Are you kidding me? But the days, you know, after the national championship game this last week has been some of the most emotional days of Chris and I's life. You know, both tears of joy, tears of sadness. The impact Fargo had on us, that program had on us, the thought of no longer coaching with Coach Entz and some of those guys on that staff, those players. It's been really, really emotional. But, you know, we're those of you that know my wife, you know that she does a good job of balancing me out. You know, she told me multiple times this last week, you know, David, if we didn't feel this way, you know, the fact that we feel this way, the fact that we are this emotional is an indication that we've tried our best to do this the right way. And so much of that stems, not so much, all of that stems from playing within a program under the leadership of a man like Coach Sawyer, Coach Entz, the people that he hired, the way that Brian Curtin operates. I mean, all these people that have just been absolute pillars of Winona State football. Well, that's what this program has stood for decades. And it's modeled for our family of what it's supposed to look like. And yeah, if you're doing it that way, it is gonna hurt. It is gonna be emotional, but you like to think that you're having, you know, significant impact on the young people that you're around. And again, I'll say it one more time, that stems from what Coach Sawyer has built, what Coach Entz, what that program has stood for decades.
Yeah, it's funny. I was reminiscing the story, and I don't know if you remember this, David, but we talked maybe a day or two after Coach Entz had called you and offered you the job. And I called you excited because it became public that Matt was going to be the head coach in Fargo. And I was just calling you to basically, you know, just talk how excited we were for Coach Entz. And you sort of fibbed to me and you said, "Yeah, I'm just with family or whatever." And all of a sudden I hear in the background that you're in an airport. I don't know if you remember this. And I'm like, "Where you?" I thought you said you were at home. You're like, "Oh, well," I'm like, "You're flying to Fargo, aren't you?" And you're like, "Man, I can't talk about that." And I'm like, "You dirty dog." But it's been a neat opportunity to watch you guys grow together. And obviously a guy that's important to a lot of people. It's amazing the impact you guys have on so many kids' lives. And it's cool that you continue to get to be able to do that. Well, enough about you. Let's talk about Winona State really quick here before we wrap up. Let's talk about somebody that you know really well and team you just faced off with. Tell us what you know about Coach Bergstrom.
You know what? Personally, you know, I know him from working North Dakota State's camp, you know, in our time in the NSIC, and when, you know, he was at Augustana, you know, gosh, he left such an impression on me. Very talented, great football mind, great communicator, most importantly, just a genuine person, like someone that you can just naturally connect with very quickly. And, you know, the work that he did at South Dakota State was impressive. You just admire it from afar, you know, and you're watching the way they play and how they're doing things. And then, you know, beyond that, it was more just when he got the job, reaching out to congratulate him, you know, tell him how excited I was as an alum that he was going to be the guy, you know, that was going to be following the foundation that Coach Sawyer has built, to know that it was in the hands of someone that does it the right way, and to know the energy and excitement that he was going to bring in to build on the program that was already there. And then from there, it was, you know, I had a lot of close friends that were on staff with Coach, you know, and some still are, some no longer are. But I mean, anytime I ask those guys, hey, how's it going? Dave, it's awesome. I mean, it's awesome. You know, Coach is incredible. I mean, he's got a plan. He's detailed. He's, you know, such a good, I mean, you get energized just talking with guys, you know, within the program about it. And then hearing from players, and I mean, it's just, as an alumni, you go, you know what, it makes you proud to know, you know, who's leading the program, and the men he's hired around the program. You know, Trevor Olson, the O-line coach, is someone that I've known of for a long time. In his time at Southern Illinois, ran into him on the road recruiting a lot. You know, seeing that hire, man, what a great hire, what a great coach, what an awesome person. It's just, as an alumni, it makes you proud, makes you really proud.
Well, Dave, I really appreciate you joining us, man. Best of luck down in the Chicagoland area with Northwestern there. Hopefully you guys have an amazing spring ball, which is crazy, I'm sure, for you to be thinking right back into it with a new set of uniforms and a bunch of new kids that you got to get to meet. But we're excited for you, man. I'm excited for you as a buddy, but also as a teammate and a fellow Winona State alum. There's a hell of a lot of people cheering for you, and I would be willing to bet you'll see some Winona State purple in the stands this fall.
All right. Cannot wait. Colin, thanks for having me, man. And no, go Warriors.
I appreciate it, man. And you take care. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for joining us. And as always, check out WinonaStateFootball.org for more information on the Winona State Football Players Association and how to join. Dave, appreciate you, buddy. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Later, buddy.